His Divine Grace Bhaktvedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj srila Prabhupada.His Gauri Vaishnava Ki Namacharya Srila Thakur Ki Bhakta Swami Govindari Ki Praise the Prabhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasai Gaur Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Yogadam ki, Shri Vrindavanam ki, Shri Mayapurdam ki, Puridam ki, Maniyatidam ki, Jamunmati ki, Vadamati ki, Tosiri ki, Bhaktivedi ki, worship Shri Shri Radha Mohan Disappearance Day of His Divine Grace, A.C.Bhaktvedanta Swami, Shikhi Prabhupada.His. Transcendental Book Distribution Key. Samaveda Bhaktvedanta Key. Thakur Premalandi. All glory to the Son of the Lord. All glory to the Son of the Lord. All glory to the Son of the Lord.
Amen. Hare Hare Krishna,
Srila Prabhupada.His. Welcome everyone to our evening program. If everyone can sit down. And this evening we will be honoring the disappearance of the day of the Divine Grace, A.C.Bhaktvedanta swami, Srila Prabhupada.His. We want to welcome the top three Prabhupada disciples who are going to come. We have, of course, Balavadra Prabhu. You can take a seat here. And I'm going to mess her name up. I always say Ananga, but it's Ananga. Did I say it right? Ananga Manjari. Very long. From the early days of Iskcon. She was in Atlanta before they had this building. Also, we're fortunate to have her here. And we have Shikhi, puchha-dhari, Shikhi, mahiti, good Shikhi, bad Shikhi, you decide. And before we begin, we want to see if there's anyone that's coming to the temple for the first time. Okay, good. We'll just have our veterans here. We're going to have devotees speaking about Srila Prabhupada until about 7:30. There's an offering that's being made, devotees have made for Prabhupada. And after the talks, we'll have our Pushpanjali and Guru Puja. So without further, we're going to begin with Balavadra first, and then Ananga Manjari speak afterwards, and we'll just go.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki. Namo puchha-dhari Krishna Pristaya Bhutale. Shimati Bhaktvedanta Swami Dinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauravana Acharane. Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatare Siddhane. So thank you all for coming this evening. I apologize, my voice as usual is out. But it's out for a particular reason. Because for the last few days I've been spending most of my time with Charvadeshna Prabhu and answering phone calls from devotees all over the world who just wanted to say Hare Krishna to him or let them know how much they loved him. It was very inspiring to see that. Such a dedicated servant of Srila Prabhupada. So tonight we're honoring Srila Prabhupada, and of course in the course of doing that, we honor the devotees who have sacrificed their lives to carry on the mission that Srila Prabhupada established. And especially a devotee like Charvadeshna, who Prabhupada personally, in a letter, said that, he said in a letter that it's simply wonderful that Charvadeshna has distributed more than 210 or so big books. Now, the time that he did that was 1975. Unlike now you have a devotee who distributed 4,000 books in one day. But in 1975, that 200 big books was a lot. And Charvadeshna, by being inspired by Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice, he did that. So Srila Prabhupada inspired the world, if not the entire universe, with his sacrifice. And he left that unfinished work of spreading Krishna consciousness in more and more towns and villages. Pritiviti Achayata Nagaradiga. Sarvata? Puchha. Don't forget Puchha. So he did that himself for more than 12 years or so before he left this planet. So during that time, some of us were fortunate to have his association, especially my dear senior god sister, Ananga Manjari. I'll tell you a little about her in a second. She's so important to me and so special to so many devotees like Rati and my wife, so many devotees. So during that stretch of time, devotees took up this work. Like Shikhi Mahiti was in Chicago, we had competition with him, Chicago and Atlanta, who could distribute more books. No, you didn't win, we won. That goes on forever. But Prabhupada was so happy. He was so happy when devotees took the mission seriously. And that's important for all of the next generation of devotees. Please don't have a casual attitude about this mission. Casual means that, okay, we do it, it's nice. Distribute some books, distribute some prasadam, build some temples. But seriously, our life depends on it. Because to please Srila Prabhupada, you have to do the service to Krishna. Now, it's not that you have to distribute books to please Prabhupada, because when he was in Atlanta, a book distributor asked him the question, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you the most? And guess what Prabhupada said? Who knows what Prabhupada might have said? That you love Krishna. And especially all the ladies jumped. Because the boys were all in front, book distributors, and the ladies were like in the back, kind of shy. But when Prabhupada said that, there was a realization that we can all love Krishna. Whether you're a book distributor, cook, doesn't matter, we can all love Krishna. So when Prabhupada left us, for me, being somewhat of a new devotee, I got initiated in 1974, second initiation in 1975, saw Prabhupada in India for a month and a half, but every day, traveled with Prabhupada from Delhi to Vrindavan, heard him speak in Hindi for 3 or 4 days, I don't know what he was saying. But I got to hold his arm, I got to fan him on the stage, so many little things. But I never got an instruction directly from him, but I did. What is that instruction? Your name is Balavadra. What are the 4 rules? And positively, 16 rounds a day. So he gave me those 2 instructions. And I feel that if I can do that, then I will please Prabhupada. But all the other things that he mentioned, we try to follow as much as possible. So the emotional attachment from me had not fully developed at the time Prabhupada passed. So we were sitting in this room. Actually, we came back from the Atlanta airport from Sankirtan with Charudeshna and Veda Guya and so many different devotees. And we knew that Prabhupada was sick, but we didn't know how much. And everyone was thinking, he'll be fine. He'll come through like he did before he was sick. And we prayed to Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please save Srila Prabhupada. So he came back again. So we knew that Prabhupada would come back. How can we live without Prabhupada, we thought? It's impossible. How could this movement go on? But he left us at that point, November 14th, 1977. So as we were coming back from the airport, Veda Guya told us, Prabhupada has left. And the air became thick with confusion. Emotion, confusion, all those things were there. So we all gathered here in this temple room under the leadership of Gokula Ranjana Prabhu, who was the temple president. And we just said, just like you're all sitting there looking at me, we were just looking at each other. Some devotees were crying, some devotees were just confused. I was one of the confused devotees. You know what to think? I mean, I surrendered to this movement because of Srila Prabhupada's books, and of course his devotees, but especially his books. And seeing him, touching him, being with him, it was just amazing. Now he's gone? Wow, what to do? So we sat for some time confused, emotional. I know Gokula Ranjana, who had more association, he was crying like a baby, like anything. Chardeshna, he was very disturbed, very upset. But something happened, not only in Atlanta, but it happened all over the world in Iskcon. It was November 14th. What happens after November? Christmas Marathon. What is the Christmas Marathon? Big opportunity to please Prabhupada. Everybody jumped on the bandwagon. You know, it's so interesting. The brahmacharis from the Krishna Life Center were visiting Charudeshna the other day. I was a little surprised because when I walked in, the whole room was packed. And they were in the hallway, and it was like everywhere. So inside, Mahotsaha said this year, we're going to name our marathon the Charudeshna Marathon. And then I said, do you know what that means? He looked at me like, no. Charudeshna Marathon means you go out at 4:30 in the morning. Because Charudeshna used to go out that time in the morning for the marathon. In fact, every Friday he would do that. He would just go and distribute so many books. So in that way, we thought, after Prabhupada passed, or during that time frame, we didn't know what to do, but then we knew what to do. Because the marathon is coming. What are we going to do? Sit around and cry for the next month? So all over the world of Iskcon, devotees had this realization. What would please Prabhupada? Right now. That we go out on the marathon. And correct me if I'm wrong, Shikhi, I think that was either the biggest marathon in history or one of the biggest. But I think it was the biggest. All over the world. Germany, India, everywhere. Devotees said, let's do this for Prabhupada. And it was amazing. So I just want to say to all of you that I've been saying this a lot lately. Krishna consciousness is real. And I thought of that after Jamanjai Prabhu passed away. And I saw him go through that period of his life. So focused on Prabhupada. He just wanted, one thing Jamanjai wanted to hear was the lecture where Prabhupada gave him his name during initiation. And I found that lecture and played it for him. He was like so happy. That's all he wanted. And Chardeshna, I'm so happy that the Ananga Manjari, who's known him since 1973 or 2, whenever it was, went to visit him today. And it was like a surprise. Prabhupada called me and said, do you know who's here? You'll never guess who's here. I said, I don't know. Ananga Manjari, I would really. Prabhupada is so merciful. So this Krishna consciousness is real. Prabhupada showed us it's real. If you go and look at the movie, Your Ever Will Wisher, and you look at the last scenes, there's two very important scenes. One scene is where Prabhupada is still translating, and he's lying in the bed. He cannot move. His lips are not moving. And Prabhupada says, everything is acting and moving by the arrangement of the Supreme. This consciousness is Krishna consciousness. And you can find that in chapter 13 of the 10th canto. Prabhupada elaborates on that. But the other one is when he's lying there in the last moments and devotees are looking at him. They don't know when he left. They're trying to see, is he still breathing? Prabhupada is so peaceful, so focused on Krishna. Krishna consciousness is real. You spend your life right now serving him. Prabhupada says, even at the time of death, if you're not able to remember, Krishna will come to you. All you have to do is do the service. What is that service? Spread the glories of the holy names. Go door to door, village to village, town to town, family member to family member, and give Krishna consciousness, and that will please Krishna and Srila Prabhupada. So take this very, very seriously. You know, we're here, older devotees, quote unquote older, 50 plus years in the movement. If there was something better, Benny Tillman would have went back to Iskcon and got it. But I have not found anything better. I've had people try to convince me, no! There's nobody on this planet that can convince me to leave Prabhupada. I may not be a scholar or whatever, but you cannot take me away from his lotus feet. No way, because I've seen his dedication to Krishna and to all the devotees. So with that, I'm so honored to sit next to this wonderful, I don't say Mataji, yes, but this is my prabhu. This is my prabhu. This is the first female devotee that I heard give a class, I believe, were you here in 72 or 73? 72. When I was just coming to the temple. And what it showed me was, this movement is far out, man. Ladies can preach. I think it was a Sunday feast, and you told that story of Newton's apple. I remember just now. She told that story, Newton's apple, gravity. I was so impressed. And if you look at some of the old Back to Godhead magazines, you see this beautiful young lady just swaying and singing, and it is her. It's Ananga Manjari. She's our inspiration, and she's going to share with us her experiences with Srila Prabhupada. So please welcome Ananga Manjari, Devi Dasi. Haribol.
Atlanta Yatra Ki Jai. I've always felt very at home here because of such amazing devotees that have started it and are continuing this amazing Harinam Sankirtan Yatra. And I don't really know where to begin. I haven't prepared anything. I was actually here in Atlanta for business, and then I heard from one devotee that that Charadeshna was in the nursing home. So I thought, well, I'm nearby. I might as well go and visit. So then I was going to leave tonight after to go back to Florida, but here I am by the mercy of the devotees and enthusiasm of them. And so I'm very grateful because even if we're not prepared, we're always prepared to glorify Prabhupada and the devotees and serve them and trying to inspire them in Krishna consciousness. So I just want to say that I think it was on Peachtree Street, right? That temple?
13th Street.
13th Street, okay. And because Peachtree Street is everywhere, and it's like kind of go in circles. But these were our deities.
Yes.
This Panchatattva picture was our deities. And I remember Balavadra was the president. He was so kind that he would let me do whatever I wanted. So when I'd say, I want to be a book distributor, I want to go on Sankirtan, there weren't even that many books in those days, but he would say, yes, go. And if I said, I want to lead kirtan, And if I said, I want to be a puchha-dhari for a while, he'd say, worship the deity. So we worship the deity. I used to go around and pick flowers and leaves and bring back like tons of stuff, and just decorate the whole altar with leaves and flowers, because that's all we had. We had no money and nothing else. So, and I would even take a little cloth, damp cloth, and wipe their feet and make charanamrita. So, we did what we could to follow the program. We did our best. And my theory is that we do our best and we'll be blessed. So in light of what Balavadra was saying about, he was impressed that even a woman can speak about Krishna, that what Prabhupada's legacy is that with great difficulty, at the age of what we are now, 70, and he left everything, took a steamboat to America, and with nothing, practically everyone knows the story, and he made Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis out of Sudras and women, because that's what we all are in the Western countries, also in the Indian countries nowadays, but you know, we're just all in the lower categories of caste system or life. And he's given us this knowledge that goes so deep into everyone's heart. It surpasses all countries, nationalities, genders, colors. It just surpasses everything. It cuts through all of that. If we believe that, and we believe that we're not these bodies, then we have to believe that this is what he's done. And that's his legacy. And if we take that away from him, which some people are kind of doing nowadays, that, you know, women and, you know, can't be Brahmins, and, you know, whatever, and they should just be relegated to having babies. And it's all right to have babies, and it's all right to be in the kitchen and cooking chapatis, and it's all Sankirtan. It's all Sankirtan, as Balavadra was saying. It's all preaching, it's all encouraging, just giving your life to your children, your love. Because if you give them love and you keep them happy when they're little, they'll keep you happy when they're big. Oh, thanks.
She's the mother of this one word, great kirtan.
And my two daughters that are doing devotional service in different ways. And it's going to look different when you take Tulsi. Take the Tulsi, the holy basil, holy Tulsi, sacred Tulsi that we worship. You take that from India and you bring it to the American soil and you plant it. It looks different. It's not going to look the same. And that's okay. In India, her leaves are very hard and leathery. In America, her leaves look very, like, you know, flowy and very thin, and her trunk is thin, you know, and in India they grow so thick you can make these big japavis. Like, it's very rare for someone to be able to make, you know, have a Tulsi that grows like that here. So it looks different, but it's still sacred Tulsi. And this is what Prabhupada fought against with his godbrothers. He had to fight them in a way. Because they weren't accepting. He wanted them to see that his disciples here in the West were Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and no less than any other Vaishnava or Vaishnavi in India or in any holy dham. He brought the holy dham here. If we don't believe that, then, you know, we're missing his legacy, his point. So I have to speak strongly about this because sometimes I'm hearing other things going on. And it's like we're losing that essence of what he did, what he came for. So that's very important. So he called me Mataji and he called me Prabhu, and I accept all of that because I am a Mataji. But as a Mataji, and I've mentioned this before sometimes, as a Mataji or a daughter of Prabhupada, I don't owe anything to him. In the Vedic culture, the daughter never owes anything to the father. Don't take that away from us. Because as a Vaishnava, as a disciple, I owe saying don't call an affectionate, you can call me anything. You know? But don't say that women cannot be called Prabhu, because Prabhupada did this. Why? Why did Prabhupada do this in the beginning? You think he doesn't know Sanskrit? The rules of Sanskrit, feminine, masculine, or whatever? Or we think that he made a mistake and just overlooked it and did it as a lazy... No, a great devotee never says or does anything that has not a deeper meaning. It has a deeper meaning always. And we know that from Vidura and Bhagavatam and Mahabharata. Vidura, whatever he spoke had a deeper meaning. It wasn't just to be taken, oh, I'm talking about the flowers in the forest. He was warning the Pandavas. So in the same way, Prabhupada didn't take it lightly that he was calling all his disciples Prabhu. Why? Because he was trying to prove to his godbrothers that they are Prabhus and I am the Prabhupada. I am the Prabhupada, that they're all at my feet. And I've done this. And because of my Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had asked me to do this, and therefore I'm doing this. So this is a very important legacy that he gave. We cannot take it away, please. So another realization I had as a Mataji, as a mother, which I'm very grateful to have had that opportunity. I have three little, they're not little, in my mind they're little, but they're grown-up children. And one time I had a realization. I was in India, pregnant with, I just had one baby and the other one was only 1 year old. And I had all these sets of diapers that I had to be washing because she was only 5 or 6. And I'm in India, scrubbing, and we lived in a servant quarters, so the toilet is just a hole in it. Anyway, I won't describe it too much, but it was pretty austere. And I was up in the early morning before the kids could get up, because it was the only time I could wash the diapers. So I'm sitting there scrubbing and going, and I'm trying to think, it's Mangalarti time, I should be thinking of Radharani's face, and I should be praying, and I'm going, samsara. Finally, I was like so beyond my capacity for, trying to see transcendental, that I just dropped everything and I said, Krishna, why? Like, I'm just surrounded by this, I didn't want to say the word, S-H. And I swear that I cried so loud and hard, like, why? Why am I relegated to this when I want to be doing so much more for Prabhupada? Preaching, and distributing books, and leading kirtans, and leading Sankirtan parties, which I was grateful that I could do here and there. But anyway, so I'm like, why this? And all of a sudden, I swear I saw a light come down on me, just like when you see the movies. It was like this light coming down, and I heard Krishna within me, and he said, yes, I accept this SH as your sadhana. This is your sadhana right now. And I thought, he's accepting it. He's accepting even this as sadhana. And I became so relieved and blissful. So don't underestimate any service to Krishna. That is something I've learned. And I'm so grateful that I got to hear that or understand it. And I was blissful after that. I go, okay, all right. I put my hands up like Draupadi, you put your hands up. So it's all your control. You're having me do this, and it's okay. And I want to make them happy, because when you make your children happy when they're little, they won't resent you, and they'll be happy. They'll want to follow what you did in life, because they'll see it's happy. So never force them, never be too strict. Give them guidelines, and within those guidelines, you let them be themselves, and that's important to enrich them. So that's Mataji. That's my Mataji side. And, I'll tell one more story that because it's Prabhupada's disappearance day, I got to be with Pishima, Prabhupada's sister, when she passed away. So I was serving under Jayapataka Maharaj in Mayapur, and who I admire very much. Oh gosh, I think it was, I'm so bad at that. It was 2 years after Prabhupada left. So okay, yeah. It was about 2 years after, and Pishima was getting ill. So anyway, I was helping her. They asked me to help her, take care of her. I didn't know how to take care of people, so I always regret that I didn't do it good enough. But she was very kind. So anyway, her last days, she was lying there and was unresponsive. And we were asking her, Pishima, do you want some charnamrita? Do you want water? Do you want milk? Do you have to go to the bathroom? In my broken Bengali, I was trying to express to her, and there was no answer. But then I was playing a tape of Prabhupada singing Nitai Pada Kamala. We had tape recorders in those days, the old kind of cassettes. And I kept playing it over and over again. And I would go up to her and I'd say, Pishima, Prabhupada Shuno? Will you hear Prabhupada? And she went, huh. And every time I would ask her any other question, there was no answer. But when I asked her, you hear Prabhupada? Huh. And I thought, that's all she wants. So I have to, just like you were saying, that's all a devotee wants in their last time. So I just kept playing that tape, and I was trying to keep her comfortable in her little bed. I won't get into all the details because there's no time. But then it was the evening, and she was breathing very hard, and her relatives had heard that she's passing. So they came, her son, some of her children came, and their wives or husbands. So there was a little group, and the devotees were chanting. And I was holding her hand, and I was thinking, I didn't know about, like, you know, the spiritual energy in those days that we, you know, but I was holding her hand and I was thinking, oh, Krishna, if I have any piety or any goodness, let her have it. You know, I'm young, I have energy, I have youthfulness, let her have it, because she needs it now. You know, this is the time she needs whatever power, energy, strength, you know, goodness that I can give her. Let me give her mine. And I was praying like that, and she was taking her last breaths, and I was like right near her like this, you know, holding her hand. And then she went, Hare, Hare, ha, and that was it. And I'm sitting there, and I tried to get the attention of her son, who was right across from me, like, is that it, you know? But he was crying, he didn't notice. So then I saw that she, again, I'm a movie buff, so I have to say, it's just like in the movies when you see these things that her subtle body, her hand started raising and her body started raising, and I had to get out of the way because I'm seeing this subtle body. She's still lying there, seeing the subtle body going up like this and going to the edge of the room. I look up, I'm still holding her hand, I look up and I see Prabhupada coming down like this, in an ethereal-like kind of way, you know. And I know I saw it with my eyes because I remember my eyes were moving, and I'm thinking, this is not even possible. But I saw Prabhupada come down with this big smile on his face, and he took her hand, and they went like kind of up into the, like just disappearing, and I'm like, like this. And then they both turned around, with holding hands, and they both turned around like this, and they went, come on everyone, come on, you're all gonna come. It's like, whoa, it was like an invitation. It was like, I want to go, you know. And they were both smiling, and they both went like this, with like nodding their heads and their eyebrows going up. They both looked so similar. And then they disappeared, and I went, oh, they left me. They left me here. I'm here, like. And then I realized, you know how sometimes you notice something in its absence. You don't notice until it's gone. So I was holding her hand, and I realized I'm still holding her hand. But wait, the energy wasn't just going this way, it was coming like it. And she gave me so much, and I'm like, what was going on? Like, I was beyond anything except for, what can I say, deep, deep, deep gratitude and awe and amazing, I guess, convincing. I was convinced that the spiritual realm is real and that everything Prabhupada said is real. And he's going to come for every single one of us like that, with a big smile on his face. I know it. And, you know, we just want to be kind of expectant. Because in Nectar of Devotion it says, expect the mercy of the Lord. Expect his kindness, his unfathomable mercy and kindness. And if we just try with any amount of sincerity, we're going to be okay. So I want to just thank everyone, and yes. At that time, no, but I had been there. Actually, there were weeks and weeks of no one coming in the room, and yeah, that's a whole other little story. But anyway, yeah. So. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
All right, so the day Prabhupada left, I wasn't aware of the conferences in India, I was barely conscious. I was out on books, and I saw the temple president coming towards me, and I just knew straight away, like, you just had that. You just knew. So we went back to the temple, and we were all a little confused and bewildered, and not very happy, that's for sure. We did Guru Puja, and basically everything just went on as usual, which is, what, 46 years ago? It was like yesterday, you know? 46 years. Oh my God. So, the association I got with Prabhupada was 45 minutes. Some devotees, disciples of Prabhupada, never got any association. Like Naranjan Swami, he never met Prabhupada. So, it's really about the instructions of the Guru more than the prabhu. The association was wonderful. There's no doubt that when Prabhupada came in the temple room, you could feel the energy change, you know, it's like it was amazing. And I had just come in off the street, I didn't have a clue. But I could tell when he walked, and, you know, like he was very tiny. How high was Prabhupada? 5'2"? It wasn't very high. Yeah, it was very small. And when I came to the temple, I went in the temple and he was giving class, and I just come off the street. No idea. I sat down in class and he looked over at me during the class. He said, "Brahmanas don't smoke cigarettes." And Madhavisa Swami asked me, "Why don't you join?" I said, "I'm still smoking." So, you know, and I asked Korma, you know, Korma came to see me. I don't know if you're familiar with Korma, the Cooking with Korma. He asked me, because he traveled around the world to put a book together on Australian devotees. I was in Australia. And he said he might have been turning the tape over when Prabhupada said that to me because they couldn't find it. So that's what he said. I mean, it was an amazing experience. Just like in here, you would say there was 90% are Indian birth, right? Or Indian descent. When we were in the temple, there was no Indians. Prabhupada was the only Indian. I didn't even know anything about Indians. We had a Sunday feast. It was all Westerners. And we didn't, I mean, we did a lot of books, that's a fact. A lot of books. So, you know, we were out there. I know I was out there like 10 hours a day. You know, and I also had a policeman who would escort me because the council decided that I had to have a policeman escort in case I was cheating or lying. So he would follow me everywhere and I would talk to people, and it was so tough because I was there by myself. There was only 7 devotees in the temple. And I had to chant like 28 rounds a day. Otherwise, I just couldn't. I couldn't deal with the motor passion. At midday, I just couldn't deal with it. It was just like, it was so hard on me, you know, to surrender and do books and surrender. It was like constant. The pressure to surrender was pretty amazing back then. We were all happy. You want to? We were very happy. There's no doubt that we're all floating. And there was no question of any misery. And there was an abundance of prasadam. There wasn't spicy or chili. Because there was no Indians.
You know what was spicy?
It was a wonderful experience. And I mean, I only got 45 minutes, but in that 45 minutes, it changed my life. Hare Krishna.
Since you brought up prasad, we don't want to go too late, so I'll just say a couple things. As they all mentioned, that day was very shocking. It's not like nowadays, news is immediate. Then, just if you wanted a picture, that was a big deal to have a photograph. You had to take a picture, get it developed, make a copy. Oh, I'd like to share one with someone else. Okay, make another copy, put it in the mail. So information took a long time. So we were all very hopeful that Prabhupada was going to stay. Nobody really knew his condition because you couldn't see. Just information is coming back and forth. But I don't know, it just felt like, for me, I always felt, well, the Bhagavatam was not finished. There's no way Krishna's going to take him. It's just a test to make us do more. So, of course, that wasn't the case. So it was very shocking, because I always wanted somehow or another, like Charlesh, I got that letter from Prabhupada. I wanted, to hear from Prabhupada, thank you very much, Shikhi. That was the goal. And I didn't get it. So it was like, at least you get it in other ways, but physically be able to achieve that. We're all working like that. I didn't really have a lot of compassion on the fallen souls because they were so mean and nasty to us. Who cares? But I knew I wanted Prabhupada to be happy with me, so I would go out there and deal with him. So anyway, it's still shocking on this day. And it's necessary because when Prabhupada's here, it was like everything was automatic. Wasn't it? I could do anything, I don't care. I could go to the moon and make a temple. You felt like that. So it's easy just to go, Jai Prabhupada, yeah, go Prabhupada. Now you have to do, it's like riding the bicycle. At one point, the father has to let go. And you have to, right? Sometimes you fall, okay, get back up, try again, try. Eventually you can, no hands, see, I can ride it. So we're growing like that. Hopefully you all will be riding with no hands. I'm still holding the handlebars, wobbling a bit. So. But let us, on this day, another thing to remember is that, why celebrate the disappearance? We don't celebrate Krishna's disappearance. But it's important for the acharyas because when they appear, you don't know they are acharya. But when he leaves the planet, it's very clear. So therefore, on this day, we take this as a remembrance and take it for enthusiasm that we, as Prabhupada also wanted. He didn't want what he started to finish. So it's not, we're all getting older, so it's your duty now that at least he said maintain it, don't let it decrease. So don't let it decrease. You have to think like that. Don't think what he's going to do, he's going to do. You also think that way. Not that we compete to do it either. We can work together, but at least in our heart we should take that responsibility. And then you'll see that this is Krishna consciousness. That's how the awakening begins. So we're going to stop here and we'll begin with the Pushpanjali and then Guru Puja. And then we'll have some spicy prasadam. We got special play for you. Bengali, somebody don't like spicy prasadam. Boo! Well, I was like, when I joined, I couldn't eat prasadam. I couldn't even eat the khichdi they were cooking. I was like, what is this? I don't know how to speak to them. I'll just eat rice and halal, maybe, Now I can eat most things. I still, Anyway. This is Krishna conscious family, big variety. Right? Jai Shri Prabhupada. So the flowers are here. We're going to do Pushpanjali then Arti. Right. So if everybody can stand up, we'll hand out some flowers. I'm going to, Balavadra is going to offer the Arti. I'll do the Pushpanjali and Srila Prabhupada.His. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Padavika Sattva Sattva Sri Sriman. Divine Grace Bhaktvedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada.His. Anti Gaudiya Vaishnava-Ki. Brahmacharya Srila Rasa Thakur Ki. Jai Goswamis of Vrindavan Ki. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhakti-Siddhanta Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shastri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Go Radha Go Giri Govinda Ki. Shri Vrindavan Mayapur Ram Jagannath Puri Ram Ki. Maniyati Ram Ki. Yamunamai Gangamaya Ki. Dasi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. The Lordship Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ki. The Lordship Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Lady Subhadra Ki. The Lordship Shri Shri Gaunitai Ki. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Jagna Ki. Shri Transcendental Book Distribution Ki. Disappearance Day of the Divine Grace Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada Ki. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the Lord. All glories to the Lord. All glories to the Lord. All glories to Lord Shri Guru Shri Prabhupada.